Now, let's discuss about three topics under this video. So, we're going to discuss truth-telling, Buber's I, It, and IU relationship, and then the principle of confidentiality. So, I'm going to use the case of Catherine Bernardo, if you're familiar with this case, and Daniel Padilla regarding truth-telling. So under truth-telling, the problem is this one. Should you tell your partner that you are cheating on her? Or should you tell your partner about something for the sake of love and starting over again? Right? So, i-connect natin siya dito kay Martin Buber na I-It relationship or IU relationship. Okay? And then under the principle of confidentiality, ang keyword under principle of confidentiality, if something is confidential, it means you have to keep it a secret. Right? So under this principle, it tries to view the interest of a single person or the interest of a lot of people. So it may pagka-utilitarian viewpoint ang principle of somehow it tries to examine the side of a utilitarian viewpoint under the principle of confidentiality. Right? Sa truth-telling, dalawang position. We have person-centered and then problem-centered. Okay? Under person-centered, the person has the dignity and deserves to know the truth. In this case, Catherine Bernardo is a person who has feelings and she deserves to know the truth. Kailangan bang sabihin ang totoo ni Daniel Padilla, halimbawa kay Catherine Bernardo, na meron siyang kalandian na ibang babae? Alright, so that's truth-telling. Now, if Daniel Padilla will not tell the truth regarding his commission of action, regarding his fidelity with his partner, and then the reason of Daniel Padilla, let's say for instance, is problem-centered. When I say problem-centered, it stresses the nature of the problem and the potential irreversible severity that it can cause on Catherine Bernardo. So if I'm let's say for instance, I'm Daniel Padilla and I'm going to tell to Catherine Bernardo the truth about my infidelity to her, would it cause the reconstruction of our love or would it cause the irreversible severity of our relationship? Okay, so dalawang possibility ang pwedeng mangyari. Tatanggapin pa ba ako ni Catherine Bernardo pag sinabi ko yung katotohanan para malaman kung kaya niya akong tanggapin despite of my flaws? Or yung irreversible damage na pwede kong i-cause kay Catherine Bernardo after revealing the truth? So those are the two sides if I'm going to tell the truth. Alright? So let's examine the truth-telling. Truth-telling is discussed under bioethics, yung medical problems sa ospital. Truth-telling is the power of the physician over the patient. Is it absolute? Yan ang problema ng bioethics for truth-telling. Should the doctor tell the truth to the patient if the truth would subsequently destroy his current well-disposition? Okay, so dalawang approach yan. It's person-centered and then problem-centered. So if the doctor is going to tell the truth, makikita niya yung tao pwedeng maapektuhan, pwedeng magkaroon ng experience of despair, pwedeng ma-depress, and pwedeng mawalan ng pag-asa. Okay, if for instance there's a terminal illness that the patient is currently experiencing, okay, should the doctor tell the truth or not? So that's a problem regarding truth-telling. If the doctor knew that telling the truth would eventually cause harm to the patient, meron bang karapatan, is the doctor obligated to tell the truth? Okay, so that's the problem. Yun yung issue regarding truth-telling. So the doctor has the choice to tell the truth or not. So dalawang approach sa problem, person-centered and then problem-centered. Now let's examine the problem-centered. Sa problem-centered, it stresses the nature of the problem. Okay, so let's examine the problem under problem-centered. Sa problem-centered, tingnan natin. Ang tinitingnan ng problem-centered is the nature of the problem and the degree and severity of the illness of the patient. Alright? So the physician may not tell the truth when it is in the best interest of the patient. So in this case, truth-telling, under the principle of truth-telling, the doctor has the autonomy, has the freedom to tell the truth or not if the doctor sees it appropriate for the patient to continue living. Titingnan niya kung if it would cause greater harm to the patient, the doctor would probably not tell the truth. Kasi ang best interest is for the patient to promote his well-being. Okay, pero it would conflict on this one, being person-centered, kasi ang tao may dignidad. Okay, may karapatan din niya malaman ng katotohanan. Right? So the doctor can probably use placebos. So ano yung placebo? Yun yung fake medicines na pwedeng i-introduce sa patient, and then it's a placebo effect. So if the doctor would say that this is a cure for the illness, the mind, tingnan natin ibig sabihin ng placebo. So when we say placebo, or placebo lang muna. Yan. Placebo, ang meaning ng placebo is a treatment that appears real, pero it's not actually real. And it is designed, so sino nakakaalam na hindi siya real? It's the doctor. And then the patient would receive it as something real. A real treatment. So it is designed to have no therapeutic benefit in the viewpoint of the doctor. Pero for the viewpoint ng recipient, it has therapeutic effect. So a placebo can be a sugar pill, a water or salt water. So in this case, pwedeng gamitin ng doktor yung placebo effect just to introduce to the patient that an intervention took place. Okay? So truth-telling is best supported too with the principle of Buber, yung I eat and I you relationship. So if I'm going to tell the truth, according to Buber, dalawang possibility. Letter A tsaka letter B ulit. It's the doctor and then the patient. Si letter A, si Daniel Padilla, who committed the infidelity, alleged infidelity. And then letter B, si Catherine Bernardo. Right? So, I-it relationship, when I say I-it relationship, tingnan lang natin dito yung it. So, yung it dito pertains to the recipient of the action wherein the other person, in this case, the letter B is treated as an it or treated as an object. Okay, so ano ba ang approach natin sa mga bagay-bagay, sa mga inanimate objects, sa mga bagay na walang buhay? So these are inanimate objects. So if we're going to treat the other person as synonymous with inanimate objects, do we value the feelings of the other person? In this case, we do not, kasi we view the other person as an object, as an inanimate object. Okay, so under I-it relationship, it describes a person's relationship with things. So if that's an inanimate object, the object can easily be manipulated for the use and purpose or best interest of person A. So if I'm not going to tell the truth, it could be an I-it relationship. So posible ang tingin ni Daniel Padilla kay Catherine Bernardo is an inanimate object na walang feelings na pwedeng i-manipulate. If I'm going to classify Daniel Padilla's alleged infidelity as an I-it relationship, kasi hindi niya sinabing katotohanan eh. So it's an I-it relationship. Again, if we're going to see the same word in our exam, let's check the word it. So it here stands for an inanimate object. So if your treatment with the other person, kung ang tingin mo dun sa isang tao ay isang bagay na walang potential na feelings. So ang tingin mo sa kanya ay bagay kasi kaya mo siyang imanipula conforme doon sa pansarili mong interes. Alright? But if you treat the other object or the other person as a real person, that's your IU relationship. Okay, so ano bang IU relationship? You treat the other person as persons and not objects that can easily be manipulated. Okay? So ano bang ibig sabihin ng manipulated? Tingnan natin. To manipulate, para mas simplihan lang natin. To manipulate means to control. Okay? To control and to use, to exploit. Yan, magandang ibig sabihin ng manipulate is to exploit. Ano ibig sabihin ng exploit is to make full use and derive benefit from a resource. So gagamitin ka lang niya, you're being selfish, you're being unfair, and that's manipulation. Kasi I'm going to use you not for your own benefit, but for my own personal interest and benefit. That's why it's very unfair if your relationship is an I-it relationship and not an IU relationship. Okay? So kung totoo talaga na si Daniel Padilla ay naging infidel kay Catherine Bernardo, in this case, we could apply the I-it relationship and not the IU relationship. Okay? Sige, that's about it for the IU and truth-telling principles. Punta tayo sa confidentiality. So, under confidentiality, we have to keep secrets daw, according to that principle. Why do I have to keep secrets? Kasi dalawa yan. Pwedeng utilitarian for the interest of the many over sa interest ng isang tao. Okay, yun yung objective ng principle of confidentiality. Now, this is also best seen sa bioethics, sa hospital scenes. Okay, Latin confidene, ang ibig sabihin, confidentiality is an English word na na-derive sa Latin word na confidene, which means to trust. So, you're going to entrust, if I'm a patient, I have to entrust my feelings to a doctor. That's professional secrecy. Wherein the information, that is finding a secret, for instance. So, ibig sabihin, I'm going to reveal an information to the doctor, and then the doctor is committed to keep that information as secret, as confidential as possible. Okay, so ibig sabihin, if we're going to use the example between Andrea Brillantes and then kay Daniel Padilla, yung confidentiality, yung secret relationship existing between them, which is an allegation, pwede dito. So, pwedeng may sinabihan na message si Daniel Padilla sa ibang tao na kung saan sekreto yon. Okay, the moral issue in this principle is this one. May conflict tayo na pwedeng makita sa mga individual. Like, the secret should not be revealed kasi it would be detrimental dun sa career ni Catherine Bernardo. Career ni Catherine Bernardo and then at the same time sa career ni Daniel Padilla. Pero in this case, more on the individual interest, sa interest ni Catherine Bernardo and the interest of the society. Ang interest ng society is the interest of the fans. Okay, kung sasabihin ba natin sa publiko na totally na confirmed na hiwalay na talaga si Daniel Padilla at si Catherine Bernardo, will it be beneficial kay Catherine Bernardo and the interest of the fans? So that's the question. Yun yung common good of the fans. So if for instance, I'm infected with a sexually transmitted disease, isang STD na nakakahawa, and then I reveal that to the doctor, meron bang karapatan ng doktor na itago ito o i-reveal sa public? Okay? So, the principle of confidentiality has limits. the principle of the confidentiality, or doctors themselves have the responsibility to reveal the information for the best interest of the society. Okay, to report the names of the patients who are carriers of communicable diseases. So in other words, if I'm infected with an STD, sexually transmitted disease, I cannot entrust the information wala naman akong choice malalaman kasi I will be physically examined. Okay? And then the information that was obtained from me by the doctor cannot, I cannot fully entrust the doctor regarding my information kasi the doctors can violate that particular information by reporting such communicable disease sa public. Kasi para hindi na mas lalong kumalat. Again, that's the interest of the society. Right? Now, if we're going to use the example of Daniel Padilla, para ba to sa best interest ng mga fans pag malaman nila na hiwalay na sila? Okay, so parang pag hindi naman talaga necessary, there's no need for the fans to know it na totally hiwalay na talaga sila. Okay, ang point ko lang, under confidentiality, tandaan po natin, the doctors are obligated to reveal the information given to them by the patient if the information is detrimental or would pose a threat sa interest ng society. So in other words, the principle of confidentiality is utilitarian. Okay? Rule utilitarianism. Ibig sabihin, mas importante ang interest ng nakakarami over dun sa interest ng individual. Alright? So that's the principle of confidentiality. So we move on now with Kohlberg. Okay, kay Kohlberg, meron lang tayong 3 important phases. Kohlberg's stages of morality or ethical development of an individual. So it starts from being an infant, na kung saan mas mahalaga yung punishment, na kung saan an action is regulated because of punishment and rewards. Okay, that's the pre-conventional. Okay, the reason why it's called pre-conventional kasi it's before the creation of the conventions or the norms. Kasi sa norms, doon na tayo gumagawa ng batas to maintain order. Alright? And then, after creating the norms, meron na tayong post-conventional. So, again, 3 lang ang stages natin kay Kohlberg. Pre-conventional, conventional, and then post-conventional. Again, you can use these slides while you encounter the same questions during your quiz and exam. Ang highlight lang under pre-conventional is there's a process. There's a development of actions coming from individuals or kids who are yung mga bata. Ibig sabihin ito yung from infancy to preschool. So from being an infant, first month, hanggang sa preschool, ibig sabihin hanggang 6 years old to. Itong preschool. So sa preschool, infancy to preschool, actions are regulated depende sa punishment and then sa rewards. Okay? Self-interest tayo. And then eventually it evolves to conformity sa school age. Okay, ang school age starts from what age? Nag-start siya sa 7 years old hanggang sa 13 or 12. Kasi pagdating na ng teens, nandun na yung social contract eh. Post-conventional na. So, ang ibig sabihin, post-conventional starts at 13 years old. Alright? So, conformity, school age, conformity to the created norms. So, the kid is after the approval of the many. Okay, so yung actions is regulated kasi nga they're seeking for validation. Gusto ko maging mabuting lalaki, mabuting babae sa pananaw ng ibang bata. Depende kung payag sila. They are approve of my actions. Alright? And then eventually, it evolves sa school age na kung saan meron na tayong fixed rules. Okay? So sa fixed rules, will we have to pay a ticket? So that's the reward or the punishment. Does it pay for the benefit? So that, again, ang highlight of the pre-conventional reward and punishment. Sa conventional naman, good boy and good girl attitude, conformity, okay, approval, and then fixed rules. So social contract is reciprocity. Okay, medyo nagkakaroon na ng maturity yung reasoning nung doer of the action. So there's a sense of reciprocity between the society and then the individual. Kasi nga, if the society appears to be unfair dun sa teenager, sa doer, dun na nakikita nung doer if it questions, again, yung doer questions the legality of the norm, the applicability of the norm created under the conventional. So kung wala namang mutual benefit na nakukuha yung doer na binigay ng society, susunod pa ba ako? Okay? Kaya nga pagdating ng teenager, karamihan ng doer dyan, nagre-rebelde. Kasi wala sila nakukuhang benefit. Right? And then, after recognizing the reason behind the creation of norms, the teen eventually realizes that the norms transcend mutual benefit. Hindi lang pala hindi ako nakikinabang dito ay hindi ko na siya susundin, kundi ginawa pala tong batas hindi lang para sa akin kundi para sa nakakarami. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng universal principles. Okay? So again, these words that you can see in your slides are self-explanatory already. You can use this slide while you encounter specifically this slide. Okay, universal principles of ethics. Yung pagdating dito sa stage 6 is yung golden rule. Okay? Kung gusto mong gawin to ng ibang tao sa'yo, gawin mo sa ibang tao. Kung ayaw mong gawin ng ibang tao sa'yo, huwag mong gagawin yun. Okay? Ibig sabihin, yun nandun ka na sa point na kung saan hindi mo na tinitingnan yung reciprocity, yung benefits. Tinitingnan mo na to yung sa pinaka-totality ng norms na kung saan bawat individual kasama na rin yung emotions mo ay mahalaga. Okay, that's why universal principles include a lot of people. It include everybody already. Okay, so yun po yung sa kay Kohlberg sa confidentiality. Again, sa confidentiality is secrecy. Sa Buber's I eat and I you relationship is the relationship of the I with the other person. Is the other person a person or an object that I can easily manipulate? And then yung truth-telling, dalawang bahagi. Pwedeng makaapekto sa isang individual or pwedeng makaapekto sa nakakarami. Itatago ko ba tong sekreto para sa interes ng nakakarami o para sa interes ng isang tao? Alright, that's truth-telling. Sige, now we move on with euthanasia.